Today, I'm going to be talking about books that you probably don't care about. And what I mean by that is they're books that are kind of particular to my own interests, and they're on my shelves because I came across them and something about them intrigued me. But they're the kind of oddities on my shelf that I'm sure everyone has those kind of books. So let me know what yours are that are like particular to your interests and where you got them from. I'd love to know. So let's get into it with the first book, which is called The Fly Trap. And it says, the Swedish bestseller about summer islands and finding happiness in the little things. I found this book many years ago, actually, and I think that I was initially drawn to the cover. I think it's just super beautiful. And then I was also drawn to what it said on the inside flap. So let me read it for you. Here's a quote from the book. Every summer there are a number of nights, not many, but a number, when everything is perfect. The light, the warmth, the smells, the mist, the bird song, the moths. Who can sleep? Who wants to? Most people do, it seems. As for me, I'm on the verge of tears from happiness, and I wander around on the island till dawn, and dream and think that summer nights are our most underutilized natural resource. A mesmerizing web of associations, the fly trap begins with Fredrik Sjoberg's own experiences collecting hoverflies on a remote island in Sweden. That's the author, by the way, Fredrik Sjoberg. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. But his curiosity about the inventor of his fly trap leads him to rediscover the extraordinary life of a near-forgotten naturalist. The tale that Sjoberg unravels leads him to reflect on life itself, on the natural world and how we learn to interpret it, on slowness, freedom, and the bliss of limitation. It just sounds super interesting. I like books that are meditations on nature and about summer, and it intrigued me then, and it still intrigues me, so I should read this soon, actually. Next, I have Dog Boy by Eva Hornung, which is about a child who is raised by dogs, I think. Let me read. Okay, there's another name, so apologies. Ramochka is 4 years old. Left alone in the apartment for 3 days, he is eventually cold and hungry enough to brave the streets. There he follows a yellow dog to her lair beneath a derelict church, and, in the rich, smelly darkness, joins 4 puppies suckling at their mother's teats. So, in Eva Hornung's award-winning novel Dog Boy, a boy becomes a dog. But to be a dog who is also a boy, that proved to be a much harder thing. I did start reading this like many, many years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I stopped, but I want to finish it. But yeah, interested in this one. Next, we have a book called Zen in the Art of Archery. From my understanding, this book is about spirituality and Zen. It shows the close connection which exists between the art of archery and Zen. By archery, the Japanese does not understand a sport, but a religious ritual. And consequently, by the art of archery, he does not mean the ability of the sportsman, but an ability whose origin is to be sought in spiritual exercises and whose aim consists in hitting a spiritual goal, so that fundamentally the marksman aims at and may even succeed in hitting himself. Interesting. I'm curious about this one, and I'll see how it goes. Now that I'm rereading all these blurbs, I actually want to get to them all relatively soon. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Paint Your Own Pictures, which I found secondhand, and I started reading the first few chapters recently. This says, a guide for those who would like to paint but do not know how to begin, discussing the materials needed, their preparation, and the handling of paint. And I mean, I do know how to paint, but I'm just curious about like what they have to say about art making and creativity. It says, the problems confronting the beginner are freely discussed, and the author draws on many examples from his experience to show how difficulties may be dealt with. And I'm really liking it so far, actually. It's interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm going to like read it cover to cover all in one go, but I like dipping in and out of it. The next book is 7 Brief Lessons in Physics by Carlo Rovelli. On the back it says, here on the edge of what we know, in contact with the ocean of the unknown, shines the mystery and the beauty of the world, and it's breathtaking. This is a super slim volume, and once again I found it in a secondhand shop. And yeah, I'm interested in science, but I don't really have a scientific background other than what I learned in school. The preface says, these lessons were written for those who know little or nothing about modern science. Together, they provide a rapid overview of the most fascinating aspects of the great revolution that has occurred in physics in the 20th century, and of the questions and mysteries which this revolution has opened up. And I kind of want to read this to see if it will inspire any creative writing, actually. Yeah, I'll get to this one soon. And the last three are all related, and I got them all at the same time from a shelf that a library was getting rid of. They're these three books all about like motherhood or mother-daughter relationships, because a few years ago I was working on this like big short story project that was about dysfunctional mother-daughter relationships. So then I got these books as kind of research, but I've only read one of them. So I've only read this one called Mother's Day, and I remember it being, super dysfunctional. I actually think it was two short stories, but the one that I remember was the mother and the daughter were both in love with the same man, and that caused a lot of tension. But I'll read the back. The characters in Mother's Day all believe that perfection is possible, that destiny can be controlled, that disorder can be kept at bay, and that actions occur without consequences. Mother's Day is disturbing and disconcerting. It makes us examine our own lives to see how far we manage to keep disorder at bay by ignoring it, and it makes us wonder how narrowly we have escaped fates similar to theirs. I remember this being quite visceral, and I think I did underline a few sections, so I'd be curious to go back and see that. But the other two that I got in this lot I haven't read yet. The first one is Our Mother's Daughters by Judith Akana. And this book, I believe, is just like a bunch of essays or like non-fiction. It seems to be quite research-based essays, so I'll just read a few of the chapter titles to get the general idea. So it's number 1, Daughter and Mother, Learning the Roles. Number 2, Mothers as Teachers, We Learn to Be Women. Number 3, Touching, Affection and Violence. Number 4, Competition, Some Data and Definition. Number 5, Fathers, the Men in Our Lives. Number 6, Leaving, the Pain of Separation. And number 7, Daughters Become Mothers More Often Than Not. Reading that back again now, I'm just like so interested in what this book holds. And I think, again, this might be one that I just dip in and out of and read one section at a time, not necessarily cover to cover, but I would like to dip into this one soon. And the last book that we have in this section, and actually for the whole video, is another mother-daughter book, and it's called Between Ourselves, Letters Between Mothers and Daughters, edited by Karen Payne. And this is what it says, just letters between mothers and daughters, and it ranges from like well-known mothers or daughters like Sylvia Plath and her mother, Anne Sexton to her daughters. Who else is there? Louisa May Alcott and her mother. Amelia Earhart to her mother. But also the book has a lot of like anonymous people, anonymous mothers and daughters who are just, not necessarily famous or well known, and it's still just a collection of their letters. It says the letters date from 1750 to 1982, so there's a good range there and a good like time span. So it'll be interesting to read a few of these, and yeah, once again, something I'm just going to dip in and out of, but it seems super interesting to me. Thank you so much for watching. It was like showing you the hidden gems on my bookshelf and things that I'm interested in, and actually reminding myself of what I'm interested in and what I also have already to read. Let me know if any of them sound particularly interesting, and I can bump it up on my to-read list so that we can like have a chat about it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.